Hey, well, I'm pretty tired. It's still the mid-morning, let's say, of Friday, the 28th, 2023. Hey, look, I was so excited when I got partial funding to get these boots, but it turns out, man, the laces aren't designed to fit comfortably around the foot. It feels too tight or too loose. And they don't really breathe well, and of course I knew they wouldn't, but still, yeah, they're not breaking in really well. And the orthotics that I got, they weren't at the same place as the boots, but I would have liked to get them at the same place. It's just, again, it's the Ministry of Poverty Creation of BC that complicates everything. Now, when I went to get my blood test to see if my blood type was still type O positive to donate a kidney in BC, because I can spare one, and I was screened out because I'm not a typical donor, and it's ridiculous because I don't think people realize, I don't think they've given a kidney realize what a great sacrifice and gift it is to screen me out that quickly with so little information, so little effort to find out how to make it work. Anyways, to finish up about the badminton shoes from a recent vlog is, just hold on a minute. Well, first time I tried that it works with this phone. I can press pause and restart without ending the video. I was letting somebody pass, and but also trying to remember because I'm pretty tired. I had tried to buy a shoe that I think I tried it for the second time, because I think maybe the first time was 25% off maybe, and then it went 40% off, or maybe it was 40, and both times it's still over $100. It's got this fancy lace, you just pull and then tighten the thing, and it's nice underneath the grip, but it's still not designed for the support on the heel that I want. And it's like, it's again innovation with devolution, and nobody talks about it, right? It's like, and I'm not talking about the laces specifically. I'm talking about that shoe it might be fancy in the brand, the design and the material, but it's not, it's not a smart design. And also, I did get a doctor when I went for the blood test to see if I could be a donor. And was I also given a renewal of my prescription? I don't think. I think it has to be another visit. But he did give me the prescription for new orthotics, except when I looked, the only place in Smithers is somebody that comes once in a while, and when I looked it up, it's part of a bigger organization that tries to cover as much of a zone as possible. And I looked up that particular guy, and his reviews is, I'm surprised that guy's still allowed to do business. Now, with my experiences already with the last orthotics business and dealing with the BC Ministry of Poverty Creation, but also really benefiting from orthotics, again, are we a developed nation or an underdeveloped proto-society? Of course, we're underdeveloped. Young lady's a bit too young, probably. She might be late teens or early 20s, I'm not sure. She was walking her dog, very nice. It's the first time I stopped here. She was a beautiful part of the view, very beautiful lady. I'm still trying to get a girlfriend. I'm doing this vlog where, like, man, I'm gonna get next birthday, I'm gonna get a blow-up doll and teach her great conversation. Maybe put a little computer on it and have great conversations. And because it's not just about the physical stuff. I'm pretty sure the blow-up doll will appreciate how affectionate and tender I am, which is feedback I've always gotten from girlfriends. And I don't know why they don't make an effort in our couple to not be so sad when they lose that. But anyways, okay, guys, do you know how I've been talking a few times how my theory about HSD, a variety of human domestication syndromes, is when, and parents don't know they're doing this, right? They train their kids to fit in the norm, to be good sheep, good domesticates, and they benefit from that in the sense that, their kids will be more and more clones of them because it's accelerating. You know, and it's amazing because I've always been interested in patterns, but I tell you, before I came up with my theory, let's say 10 years ago, I would measure for the same things. It wouldn't be going as fast as it's going now. It's really speeding up big time. Your brain's devolution through a variety of human domestication syndromes that you can't deviate from. And I've said a few times, when every generation aims for the norm, when they train their kids into the norm, it devolves the standards of the norm. So I can give you a couple examples, okay? So I'm making money now, okay? But the sad thing is, the only place I can spend it is in Canada, and it's, you know, 9 out of 10 times extremely disappointed spending money here. So I went to a restaurant again the other day before I did a long drive. I was tired. I went to this restaurant, and it's a place I'd enjoyed the waitress. I was going to ask her out. I knew she had a ring. I just needed to be sure. Yeah, she's not available, but she's the ethnicity of a country I've worked for in Ottawa. The country's consulate in the past, and I've been studying that ethnicity's culture, and you know, it's not good. But she was different, right? Communication and a slight desire compared to the norm to want to pursue quality. And she was more attractive, I would say, than the average lady from that ethnicity, I would say as well. And I told her this, and I said, one example that you're attractive to me is you ask me why I found you more attractive than the norm. And I said, do you think most people you know that are your age from your country would have asked? And she says, no. Well, see, you gave me an example of you know, why as a sapiophile, you know, I detected, you know, higher levels of intelligence. And I'm not saying she's an Homo sapien. I'm just saying it's higher, and I haven't had a girlfriend in a long time. Anyways, I told her before, I said, can you make sure it's really well toasted? Because it's supposed to be toasted for Eggs Benedict. I'll give you breaks. So beautiful. And when it came, I started eating it. The sauce was delicious. And again, the hash browns the spice they put with it was really nice. And I said extra crunchy, and it was. But the bread was just slightly toasted. It was just a little bit brown on the inside part, you know, the cut part on the edges. So I showed her. And I said, you know, I don't know if I believe probably you communicated well, but tell them it wasn't done. Now with this, I didn't say I should get a discount. I'm hoping she'll do it. But maybe she doesn't have the power, right? Because maybe she's the only one with higher than average standard. And I'm, you know, if I was gonna guess, this is all guesses, is she just maybe had her second child. That's very young, so she enjoys the job, takes pride in the job, and feels safe bringing income into the family with this job and her performance in it, and being appreciated by not just clients but co-workers. That means she can't shake things up too much with co-workers, even though, you know, customers might be less happy or come back less, right? It's still a busy restaurant anyway, so you know, unconsciously she makes these choices. So I don't know, she didn't say she didn't say if the error was hers about the toasting of the English muffin, or if it was the chef or whatever. But I said, oh, I forgot, like last time, to ask for mayonnaise. And she brings back what is obviously Miracle Whip. And there's a difference. And I've encountered people before, including Filipinos, who say there's no difference. And I'm not going to go there. I'll let them figure out what the difference is by doing taste tests and looking at the ingredients and, you know, asking a real chef maybe. And like I don't know if there's any recipes where you put Miracle Whip, but I know there's recipes that specifically is a real mayonnaise based on the recipe of what real mayonnaise is. And if it doesn't say real mayonnaise on the container, whether it's Miracle Whip or salad dressing, name whatever on your giant container. So of course I gave it back, and of course I said don't charge me for that. And of course she didn't charge me. But the thing is guys, why is it getting harder for people to even want to learn the difference between Miracle Whip and real mayonnaise? And I know they're both white and about the same mix, the same texture, not exactly the same texture, by the way. And somebody that wants to make an effort is, let's say, somebody that has no sense of taste. They could still tell the difference with the texture, okay, with a blindfold. You know, it is if you want to really use your senses based on how big your brain is. So, like, what if somebody asks for ketchup and they bring mustard? Like, it's not the same color, and people would agree that's not it. You can't charge for that if I return it. But because it's white, it's not the same. So what about whipped cream? What about you order mayonnaise and somebody brings your whipped cream? Then you'd agree. But the thing is it's still extremely different items. And the fact that nobody cares enough that when she went and asks, she says, we don't have mayonnaise, that's all we have. And I said, well, I'm pretty sure last time it wasn't Miracle Whip because I would have returned it as well. So, there's a lack of effort to actually be who we claim to be, capable of doing what we claim we're capable of. Now, this is the big example here that I'm going to tell you. Is I'm listening to XM radio, and there's a lady in the morning who's the host of Channel 7 for the 70s music. And she said she feels bad about leaving a shopping cart in a spot instead of returning it, which she usually doesn't do. Now, I don't believe she said why. Like, did she forget because something distracted her, or she was tired, or she just didn't feel like it, or it was going to be a bit more complicated, so she didn't do it. And then she rationalized that what she does is she pays back in the sense that when somebody else does it, she will then return the cart for them. Now, after that, she used the example that when she walks her dog and she forgets a bag for the poop, she'll make up for it by picking up somebody else's poop the next time. I don't know how likely, she'd do that, like, to balance it out. But the thing I want to ask you guys here is, when people hear this story, especially with the poop, okay, are they gonna suddenly think I'm gonna be picking up less of my own poop because somebody else is needing to pay back because I'm seeing so much poop? Or the person will say, the opposite, right? Instead of leaving poop, is I'm going to pick up a lot of other people's poop. Like, there's a way to actually solve this problem by choosing one of the two behaviors and then taking charge of your own evolution as a culture. So most people would actually leave their poop and feel less guilty with their story than start picking up more of other people's poop, okay? And it's kind of the same thing with the shopping carts. Now, I could ask her, I said, what made you not do your cart? Like, were you distracted? Was it safe for you to drive that day? Were you community minded that maybe you shouldn't have gone out if there was a lot on your mind, or you were in a rush, or whatever it was, right? And then you might say, Martin, that's a lot. Like, well, that's what human standards look like, by the way. And I know the definitions of altruism, community, sentience, sapience. I know the difference between the words accountability, impunity. Now I know this because supposedly we're human and we're supposed to know this. So my excuse for knowing it is I'm living the image of who everybody already claims to be. What is your excuse for not only not knowing the difference between these words, not using them efficiently, but not walking the talk of these words? And when you don't have these conversations, again, you're devolving the norm. You talk about this poop story, and you're creating an excuse that accelerates devolving the norm. Because there's a lot of different things you could have done when you didn't have a bag of poop and your dog pooped, and there's a lot of things you could do to make up the buggy thing instead of picking up some other person's buggy the next time, which I do anyways. I do that if there's a buggy in the way, and definitely I park far away, and if there's still one close to me, I remove it, because people make mistakes a lot. And I don't park downhill because people, they might not even know, they send it towards the area and then it deviates downhill and it hits pretty hard at some point. So I think people don't realize how much my parking has thinking in it. And if I explain it to them, they'll get mad. So again, doesn't it show that the people that get mad when I explain the thinking that happened about how I choose to park where, and I can explain it, and I knew before, I'm not trying to make up after to explain it? Doesn't it kind of say that I'm a culture repair and you're a culture breaker? with this kind of conversation. And you need to have these. You can't just say, I like the term culture repair, so now I'm a culture repairer. I like this term, so I'm like this. And then sometimes there's groups of people that meet with these labels, and none of them are actually acting like it, and none of them call each other on it.